What's going on, guys? It's Alex with the Combat Sports Central coming to you one more time. Guys, we're here to talk about Dricus Du Plessis. Was his win over Robert Whittaker legit? Was that a landslide of a fight slash vicious knockout? Was that legit? Was it super legit? Was it good? Everyone's going off about this right now. Was his interaction with Israel Adesanya afterwards also legitimate? What happened there? Was there racial undertones? Was it is he being drunk? A lot of people are saying Izzy was drinking before he got in the ring to talk it out and have a face off with Dricus. So we're going to talk about all that. But before we get there, guys, please drop a quick sub in the video. You guys will be helping me out massively. And that way I can keep making this kind of content. So I'm going to give you guys a quick second. Let's go ahead and hit that sub button, all right? All right, guys. So getting back to it. Let's talk a little bit about what happened. So yesterday was UFC 290. I'm sorry. The whole card as a whole, from the early prelims to the pay-per-view, was an amazing freaking card. One of the best cards I can remember of, right? And the whole purpose of this video is not for the main event. It's not even for the co-main event. This is a third fight on the pay-per-view. But of course, it's been the fight that's been giving the most headlines. It's what everybody's talking about right now. MMA Twitter is going nuts over this. So what the big talking point here is previous to this fight, happening or occurring, there was a lot of people that were counting out Dricus. Not myself. As you guys can see on the bottom side of the thumbnail, that's me wearing an African shirt. So go check the thumbnail again if you missed that. I thought it was super cool, so I put that on. But that being said, yeah, people were dismissing Dricus, right? Everybody was saying, "Oh, Rob Whittaker is elite. Rob Whittaker hasn't lost to anybody not named Israel Adesanya since 2014." Da 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 da. There's levels to this. I saw some tweets that were saying some ridiculous things like Robert Whittaker is gonna put on a clinic. Robert Whittaker is gonna just walk through the Plessis, and of course now we know that's not what happened. Now we know that the real fight had a lot of landslide or walking through, but it wasn't on Robert Whittaker's part. It was on Dricus's part. So the first round, early on, Robert was having his way a little bit more than Dricus was, but towards the end, Robert tried to take him down. And Dricus is a big boy. He's a big old jacked boy at that. So what ends up happening is that Robert gets to feel his strength firsthand, right? And it's funny when that exchange happens because Robert has him under him for a little bit, and there's a little bit of a sprawl, and they end up switching places before Dracus stands back up, and they fight it out a little bit more. Dracus in the first round was working that lead leg from Robert, though. It's something that goes extremely unnoticed is all those leg kicks in the first round specifically because later on we'll talk about a little bit more about how it may or may not have been compromised. So at the end of the first round, Du Plessis gets like a judo toss of him, if you will, and he ends up on top. And the round ends with Du Plessis doing some ground and pound on top of Robert Whittaker. So it was already a massive landslide of how the fight was going, right? So the momentum was swinging in favor of Dracus. So enter the second round, and more of the same continues. I think Robert comes out super aggressive, and he lands a few good ones on Du Plessis, but nothing too crazy. Du Plessis has great defense, something that again wasn't being talked about enough yesterday. That he was quick on those because Robert, there was a few kicks that I was like, oh, he was on the cusp of landing some good ones that would have slept him. But again, he had really good defense with that, so he was doing a good job. Second round continues, and somewhere around the mid of the second round, Du Plessis is catching him with a straight right, a little jab, right? Because he kept switching stance on. He catches him with a straight right. Kind of wobbles Robert. Robert falls down on his knees, gets back up, and of course, there's blood in the water, right? Being the amazing South African man that he is, he smells the blood in the water and he goes after him. So he's chasing him down, he's pummeling him, hitting him, and it was only a matter of time before he cut the cage. Robert hits the cage with his back, and Du Plessis just wails on him, lands a really good body shot with his right, which bends Whittaker, and then at that point he's just all headshots landing on him. It was only a matter of time. I think something like 8 seconds, and the ref steps in, and that was that. Right? He shocked the world. Everybody was so surprised with what was going on with Dracus at this point. So it's this huge win, right? Du Plessis is extremely happy. It's this massive win. Joe Rogan gets in there. They do your stereotypical post fight interview. They talk it out a little bit, whatever. And then, of course, Du Plessis had jumped on the cage. He had met the president because Trump was in, or the former president Trump was sitting there cage side. So he goes and he shakes the former president's hand. Then he comes back, and of course, Israel Adesanya was ready to step in the ring. Now, according to several sources, I think it was Full Mount MMA. Shout out to you guys. Israel Adesanya had been drinking. He had been having a few while sitting cage side, or not sitting cage side, but while being with the other fighters that were there for International Fight Week. And they say this because the interactions that were had in the ring or in the cage were completely different than what you normally see out of Israel Adesanya. So what we could reference is whenever Israel was accused of gynecomastia and having used steroids, he laughed that off, and during the press conference or whatever, because he knew it wasn't true. I mean, well, I don't know if it was or it wasn't, but based off of how he reacted, we could assume that it wasn't true because he brushed it off. He made jokes about it. He asked guys in the media, "Why are you looking at my titty?" Little things like that, right? And as far as him getting in the cage this time, something had already been stirring at him, right? So a few months ago, when Dricus had that interview and he talked about, "I'm the real champion. I breathe African air. I live in Africa and whatever." Obviously, that had been sitting and stirring with Israel because he had already called him names such as cracker and things like this, and he was already saying, "Who are you to determine if I'm African or not?" Right? Which is a perfectly reasonable thing, right? We're no one to determine who or what somebody is as far as their nationality or stuff like that. Now, is it a perfect logical statement on Du Plessis' part for him to say, "Hey, I live in Africa. I haven't moved away. Thus, when I get the belt, it would be coming back to Africa." Of course, that's perfectly logical too, and it makes perfect sense. Now, this is where stuff gets out of hand. So that had been stirring in Israel's mind for a little bit. So when he gets on the cage and he goes to do a face-off with Dracus, he starts, blasting him with different things, right? So he gets up there and he goes, "Oh, no, it's okay, guys. You guys don't have to worry about it. He's my African brother." So up until that point, you can kind of see Dracus is kind of like, oh, he's taking it back a little bit. He doesn't know what's going on. But of course, the cringe was about to occur. It was about to go down. So check this out. So right after he says it's okay, he's my African brother, he kind of like gives him like a little chest thing, like acknowledging him, and then Israel goes right, and then he drops an M bomb on him, right, and he goes, "Is that's right?" And then M bomb again. So this happens about 6 or 7 times where he drops the N bomb on Dracus, and Dracus is just sitting there like not knowing how to react. You can tell this is his first time dealing with this kind of adversity because he's just there like, shoot. So then he goes, "Yeah, he's my African brother." He says it again, and then that's when Dracus has his first words back to Israel, and he goes, "I am African, but you are no brother of mine." Which, let's take a quick second there and acknowledge that that is an amazing comeback right there. That could be like the name to an album, or something that you can get tattooed or something like that. That's one of those lines that's amazing, and he thought about it right then and there. So cool. Uh, so at this point, Joe, Dana, all these people are trying to separate them, and Israel's trying to tell them, calm down, let's do a face-off. At that point, Dracus has had enough. He turns around, lifts his hands up because, again, he's probably full of adrenaline. He's just beat Rob Whittaker in an outstanding form. So he takes off, lifts his hands. Izzy doesn't get what he wants, and we continue with the night. But that's the big part that everyone's been having issues with, all right? So my personal opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with Dracus saying, "Hey, I live in Africa. I'm going to bring the belt back to Africa. I would be the only, African champion," right? Because he is the only residing African champion should he win the championship, right? Israel's, in New Zealand. Kamaru Usman's in Colorado, right? Francis Ngannou is God knows where, right? But he's not in Cameroon. we'd understand that he would be the only residing African should he win a belt that's will take the belt back there. But again, that's yet to happen. And if we get there, now Israel Adesanya about originally having called him a cracker, then getting in the cage and calling him the N word. I what for? Where is that going? What's the logic there? What was gained from this, right? So Israel's known as this champion that's likes anime and he's quirky and he has these walkout that are super over the top. I mean, with a urn and he was dressed as the Undertaker, stuff like that. That's cool. That's your shtick. That's what you do. It's amazing. You're not the guy that goes in the ring and causes racial tensions. That's not what you should be doing. That's not Israel Adesanya. That's not the best of him, right? So could we attribute that to him having been drunk? Could we attribute that to him having made a mistake? Maybe. Who knows? It remains to be seen. I don't think Israel's come out and said anything about it yet, but when he does, we'll learn about it. That being said, what do you guys think? Go ahead and let me know below. Comment below. Did he make a mistake? Was he drunk? Is there racial tensions now? Is that gonna be? Is that gonna be like the thing for this fight whenever we're marketing it, where Dricus Du Plessis is gonna be like, he's a child, and Israel's just gonna be, calling him names the whole time? Is that what this fight's gonna be about? If look, regardless of what it is about, I'm just glad that we don't have an Izzy Robert 3. I'm glad that Izzy has somebody new to fight. And based on Twitter yesterday, Sean, a little bit off topic, but Sean Strickland had put his name in wanting to fight Israel. But now that Du Plessis went and knocked out Rob Whittaker the way he finished him, it's clear that Du Plessis is going to get the next shots, especially based off of their interaction with Dana and the face-off and stuff like that. But how much would you guys love to see an Israel Strickland fight as well? So either or, I'm in there for the next two Izzy fights. They're going to be freaking amazing. Or it could be one Izzy fight and one Du Plessis fight. If Du Plessis wins, and he becomes the first real African champion. Either way, you guys comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there. If you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. Don't forget, it helps out the channel immensely. So thank you guys, and we'll talk next time. Peace.